Hi guys, this is Rose from Rose Knows Money Making. Let me tell you, somebody reminded me of this. Actually, JW Vlogs reminded me of this on my other channel about paying your bills earlier, and I wanted to tell you a little story about that. So years ago, I was making really good money, and I was doing some corporate marketing for uh, the largest farmers market in the U.S., or I'm sorry, in Pennsylvania. And I made really good money from them. And I worked a lot of hard hours. So while I was doing this and I was making good money at that time, what I was doing was I was paying my bills ahead. I was paying more than what they were asking for. And we had a lot rent. We had to pay a lot rent for where our trailer sat. So I would pay $25 extra a month on my lot rent. Did that for, I don't know, close to 3 years, 2 years, something like that. I paid it up, and now all my other bills were caught up, and I paid off my truck and all that. But I paid a little ahead, and it always gave me that credit, you know. Well, I never really gave it much thought. I just figured if something ever happens, at least I'll have a place to live for a little bit before they come knocking on the door to collect. So I had a time where everything shut down, and it got to a point where I didn't have no work for a year. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to take this year off and go visit places, go visit my mother in Florida, and, you know, I was going to take that time for myself. Now, I worked for years with no vacations, so this was very much deserving. You know, I really wanted to do something for myself, and I did. I took care of my property. I, you know, fixed it up. I was helping fix up the neighbor's property. Truly enjoyed it. My time off. Well, let me tell you, for an entire year, my rent was paid. My lot rent. You know, I owned the trailer, but the lot I did not own. I rented the lot. So paying it that much ahead every month, it credited me an entire year's worth of living that I got to live here rent free. That was very amazing. All I had to pay was my car insurance, my electric, that kind of stuff. Now, water, sewer, and trash is all included in your lot here, so I didn't have to worry about that stuff. My gas bill, I have gas heat. So, and a gas stove. So, my stove and furnace for the winter time, you know. But I lived the entire year for free here. I only needed the money, which of course I already had money in the bank. I had plenty of money saved up. And I probably shouldn't have taken an entire year off. But you know, when you pay things ahead and you get that credit built up, if something happens, let's say you break a leg and you can't work for 3 months, at least you know that bill is done taken care of and you're good. You know, it really is amazing what can happen. Now everybody says, well, put that money in savings, put that money in savings. Well, I do. I put money in savings, and I paid ahead on my bills what I could. And when I could do that, it made life so easier. Now, I still had to pay my truck insurance and stuff like that, but I usually paid them once a year, and now I have to pay them twice a year because they only do the 6 months now. They don't do the whole entire year. But I got a huge discount if I paid them for the entire year. So that's what I did. I would pay them for the entire year and not have to worry about my truck insurance, you know, my vehicle insurance, things like that. So if you can think of a way to pay ahead on any one of your bills, I would do it. You know, it's a smart move. Because if something happens, let's say you're in a car accident, all of a sudden you can't work, or your spouse, something happens to your spouse, and they can no longer work, and now they're depending on your, money, and you don't make as much as him. You really have to think these things ahead. And that was just one thing that I did to help myself financially, and it worked. It really, really worked. And, it was one of those things that, I could do other little side jobs, little side hustles while I was off on that time. I could go out and do some painting jobs, or, mow some lawns or whatever, for that extra income when I needed it. Which I really didn't, because I had all that money saved up, but it was still nice to bring something in. Boy, I wish I would have known how to do YouTube back then. I'd be rich nowadays. Because then I could have been YouTubing that old time. But I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything until I got to Florida and started playing around. And one day I uploaded a video onto YouTube. That was my Pertaining to Rose channel. And it was something that, I was trying to figure out, and it kind of worked, and I just always had it. Now, back then it was called Rose McConnell. Now it's Pertaining to Rose, and I incorporated in with my, life coaching business, and, everything got incorporated into one seed. Now it can grow. It can expand. But paying your bills early is a really good way to take care of yourself for down the road. They say you should have at least 6 weeks to 6 months worth of savings just in case something happens. Well, it's hard to save that money. And when you have it there, you're thinking, well, I have that water pump going out of my vehicle. I could pull it out of that money instead of using my paycheck. And that way, I don't have to worry this month. If you already tie it up in bills, then you're not pulling money out of your savings. So I did. I tied it up in my bills. I paid my bills early. I paid it ahead, so I was always ahead. And of course, here, if you pay your lot rent early, you get a $15 credit, or $15 less that you have to pay. So mine was always early, because I was so far paid ahead. So every month I got that $15 off. You really got to think ahead on these things. So if you have a car payment or a mortgage, maybe try putting that extra money in those too, because those are interest-bearing accounts. And you want to pay that off as quick as you can. Paying that extra money into that, if something happens, you might only have 1 or 2 car payments left, and you're able to swing it with your last paycheck or two. You know what I mean? It will change your life if you start doing these things. And I'm telling you, the struggles are real. I've been there. I've been down that road where I struggled to pay the bills, and I had to figure out which bill to pay because I didn't have money for both. And, I went through that point in life where it was crazy, and I was like, okay, looks like we're eating cereal all month, because I can't afford to pay the bills, and we're going to have to pull money from somewhere to catch up on them. And, being late and always having somebody calling you and saying, hey, you didn't pay your bill yet. It's been hard lessons. But now I learned, and I pay ahead. And that way, if something happens, I know I don't have to worry about that bill for a year. Or 6 months, or whatever. I'm not struggling to catch up and trying to figure out where to come up with that money. And believe me, I know what it's like to go digging through your couch for any change. I've been down that road when I was much younger, and that is not fun. And then when you take all your change to the bank and find out you only have, $3 and something in change, and you're like, oh my God, pay this bill with this, It's a struggle. You don't need to live in that struggle. Trust the Lord, and tell him, I trust you with my money, Lord. Seriously. He will come to bat for you. I'm dead serious. He will. I I put all my trust in the Lord. So I do pay whatever I can ahead. That way I don't have to worry about if something would happen. I'd be like, okay, my insurance is paid for the next 6 months. My lot rent is paid up for the next year. You know, if something would have happened to me, at least I know those two bills are taken care of for a while. And now I can put back a little nest egg so I have food to eat and electric to pay. And I paid my electric bill early. If they let you pay more than what you owe, do so. They'll just credit it to your account. And there'll be a credit in there. And if you keep doing it every month. See, now, I know a person, he bought a brand new car. They just absolutely love their little car. But she really didn't have the money to pay ahead. You know, so she put $3 extra a month on her car payment. That's it. $3. When she has a little bit extra, she pays a little bit extra. But she's paying it ahead. She's paying down that interest, you know. And then when it's time to make her last payment, she'll make her last payment. They'll send her a title, and they will send her a check because she overpaid on her interest and her premium. So now she'll get a check when she pays off her car. That's happened to me. You know, even if it's just a couple dollars, do it for a few years and see where you wind up. And then when you do make a little bit more money, add a little bit extra, you know, and just keep doing it. Get in the habit of it. Let me tell you, it helps. Now, I paid a lot every month on my stuff to pay it off like that. So, to pay it up so that I wouldn't have to worry. And I was able to go to Florida. I took a couple trips that year, you know, down to Florida. And I got to enjoy that time. And I got the time to spend here with my grandchildren and take care of them and to help babysit when the kids needed a babysitter. It made life a lot easier for me. You know, it was stuff I was able to do. And then when I went back to work, you know, I still had a little bit saved up. So my first several paychecks, I wasn't struggling to get caught up. I was already paid ahead. Really consider doing this. It's a nice way to start a nest egg that you won't have issues with down the road. And you know what? If you have to move out, then money will come back to you. If you're paying a lot rent or paying a rent, uh, they'll know that you overpaid. That's plus you'll get your security deposit back. That's super nice. That is absolutely super nice. You know, you'll get that extra money back when you most need it. When you're trying to afford a moving van and everything else, you'll have that extra little paycheck coming in. You know, start a side business. Any little side hustle. So, landscaping's actually pretty easy to do. Watch some YouTube tutorials and then go around and say, hey, I can do this for you, I can do that for you, and see if you can get something going. And start it on your side. Start it on the side. Just make sure you always show up to do the job. And make sure you always finish the job. You have to be good at what you do. So, getting that practice in early and learning the different techniques, it will really make a huge impact on your business. You want to start now. And if you're making a couple extra dollars, put it somewhere where it's going to help you in the future. You can put it in an interest-bearing account. Make sure it's a 30-day accrual interest. That way your money is building on top of your money and you're saving, and pay some of those bills ahead so you're credited just in case something happens. Believe me, it's a godsend in the future. I do it all the time. I'm always thinking of ways that's going to help me in the future. And that's one of the best ways that I can think of to tell you. I just wanted to put that story out. Thank you, JW Blogs, for reminding me of it. I hope it helped all of you. Leave a comment and tell me what you do. I mean, if there's some technique and you'd like me to talk about, put it in the comments. I might just mention it and mention who it came from. So, JW Blogs, love you, girl. Bye, guys.